is the way of the world. You can never know just where to put all your faith and how will it grow. Gonna rise up, burning black holes and dark memories. Gonna rise up, turn mistakes into gold.
Okay, let's do it. We're starting right now.
Alright, so here we go. We're podcasting.
Yeah, what's going on?
We're recording, and then you'll edit it, and then cast it with pods.
I've never been on a podcast before.
Oh, well, first of all, welcome. Welcome to the Sick Bush podcast. Thank you, Bama, a.k.a. Justin Walker, and Em.
Hello.
How are you?
We are doing great. We are doing so great. We have had so many adventures. We had a wedding a week ago, Emily's older brother Henry, and then we spent some time in Maine. And we are full speed ahead with wedding planning for ourselves. And, you know, that's just the stuff from this summer. But then we were down in Florida for the past 5 months. And then before then, we were in Atlanta for a year and a half where we met. So there are so many different things we could talk about. So,
Yeah.
you know, you just go full on Oprah and just lead this discussion however you want.
All right. Well, I think we should probably just start. Let's start at the beginning when the two of you met.
Excellent time.
Yeah, because I don't know if everyone knows your story.
Yeah, it sort of happened pretty quickly. It was like all of a sudden, you know, I told a couple people that I was, you know, dating somebody, and then it's like I've got a girlfriend, and then it's like we're engaged.
Yeah.
That's pretty much how it happened. It only takes a couple weeks, right?
So you guys were both going to Emory together, right?
And it's so cool how these things happen because Emory was the only seminary I applied to, and Justin deferred for 2 years. So it worked out really well that we started at the same time at the same school, and we paced ourselves nicely. Like the first semester, we said hello to each other a little bit, but we were in our own circles, and then came together in January, right at the beginning of the second semester. So whatever New Year's Eve wish I made really like sprang into action January 2nd.
And that's 2015?
2015.
No, 2014. Because we were together all of 2015, right?
No. 2014 we came to Candler in the fall, and then
Right.
2015 was our meet, get engaged, leave Candler year.
Yeah, so spring of 2015, was January of 2015,
Nice.
And one of the first things I said to Justin was, Justin, do you want to have children with me?
Yeah.
And what was the answer?
No need to answer.
That was my answer. I just went,
Because we were sitting in the atrium at Candler, and it was January term, so like fewer people on campus, and the general discussion was like, for this group of 20 and 30-year-old somethings, like, do you want to have children? And like, oh, people were generally saying like, my nephew and nieces are really cute, but not me.
Yeah.
So I asked Justin, like, do you want to have children? And I just finished, you know, what I was thinking in my head out loud with words.
Do you want to have children with me?
Yeah. And so that was sort of how we flirted, I guess.
You just
and then,
flirted by talking about, like, maybe we'll have sex someday.
maybe we'll
No, it was lifetime. I wasn't asking for a date. I was asking for a lifetime.
Yeah.
Lifetime commitment, yeah. And we had some best friends, mutual friends who we had spent a good bit of time with studying, for it's graduate school, so it's like 8-hour study sessions together and things. And over time, some of our friends started telling us, like, hey, y'all should date. Mona, who is going to be our officiant, was one of those people who looked at both of us, and said, like, y'all should date. And we went on a couple of, like, study dates with
a buffer,
with like Mona and our friend Dana, who
served as buffer.
were our classmates, and we'd meet at Panera or Starbucks and study together and hang out. And Emily and I noticed that when we were studying together, we did a lot of staring at each other and smiling.
Wow.
And
while reading the book of Jeremiah, which is very telling.
Yeah, and then it would have been maybe our third weekend of dating. I said, hey, do you want to go to Alabama to meet my family? And so we went home to Montgomery and went to the farm. And my entire family was there. my brother and sisters, and
I hugged every walker.
She got to meet all the walkers, basically, and we had a great time there. Saturday morning, we got up and had to do a bunch of work, feeding the animals, feeding the chickens and the horses and the pigs, and Emily just loved it. She just put on her boots and some pajama pants and a flannel shirt, and then I was tackling goats and pinning them down. That way we could give them some deworming medicine. And
Justin was wearing his goat tackling pants, aka his hunting pants for pheasants.
Oh.
And yeah, he started tackling goats. I was done. And I think it's important to note for our listening audience that I entered seminary and I hadn't dated for 4 or 5 years, and I entered thinking that I would not date ever again. I was like celibate, off the market. I'm never getting married. So I'll just say the connection that Justin and I had, it was life-changing and life-turning, and like there was something, we'll say something spiritual was happening.
Something in the water.
On the farm. It was really that weekend at the farm that was like, we are in love and we are together.
Yeah.
For life.
So fell in love in the farm, and then the next weekend, Emily asked me, basically asked me if I would marry her. She asked me if I would be on board with her for life.
Can you reenact that, please, both of you?
Yeah, we're already lying in bed next to each other, so we got that done. But you can't see that. Yes.
So everyone at home needs to visualize that.
But it was like a Sunday afternoon. It was a big day. I preached that morning, and then we were meeting Becca Stevens that night, who's my number one role model. Thistle Farms, look it up. And so yeah, lying in bed, and okay, woke up from nap. Okay, here we go.
And then
we've been dating for a little while now. Do you want to keep dating for a long time?
Yeah.
Justin Walker, will you be on board with me to date?
Yes.
For the rest of our lives?
Yes.
Do you want to have a real Christmas tree or artificial?
A real Christmas tree.
And then in the background, we were like, what did we just decide?
We were like, wow, what did we just do? Did we just?
And then Justin said, you are going to be such a beautiful old woman.
Aww.
And Emily said, but you can get a ring and propose to me too if you want.
Because you're very romantic and might want to have that moment. But yeah, honestly, Sunday. It was March 22nd, 2015, on a Sunday afternoon at Nick and Sarah Poorhousen's house in Marietta, Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Now, are you being serious about the Christmas tree?
Yeah, that was like one of the first questions.
Oh, that is amazing. Oh man. So, Bama, do you want to talk about? Did you actually do like a formal proposal?
Yeah. So after that conversation, where it was like, oh my goodness, we're really doing this kind of thing. We're really on board with this. It was fun. I sent my brother a Facebook message, my brother Cliff, and it was just like a one-line thing that was like, how does one go about saving up for a ring? and he wrote me back, and he was like, whoa, this is not a Facebook conversation. You
Yeah.
gave me a call.
Yeah.
And so we talked about that, and he actually had some really good advice. The way he put it was, imagine yourself 5 years from now, y'all are married, and the TV goes out or laptop goes out. Are you going to go out and buy a new TV or a laptop without talking to the other person about it, for this several $1,000 expense kind of thing?
Yeah.
And he was like, so, you've got an opportunity starting your relationship with that kind of openness about finances and spending, and he was like, maybe y'all want to, because we're both in grad school and we've got student loans, and my brother was saying, maybe y'all want to talk about how you want to do a ring, maybe you want to do something y'all can afford now, and then say, let's have a big treat after we pay off student loans or something like that. And so that was a really encouraging conversation from him. And I brought it up with Emily a couple days to a week later, and she was really receptive and told me that she would marry me if I gave her a tinsel ring. Yeah, just rip it off the Christmas tree and tie a knot around her finger.
But it's got to be a real tree.
Yeah. Get her a Dr. Pepper. It's a birthday. But actually, what happened was we came up here. We're in. Oh, by the way, we're in Huntington Valley, Pennsylvania, which is just outside of Philadelphia. We'll get to that part in a little bit. But we were in Atlanta at the time, and we came up here to introduce me to her family, and that was when I talked to her parents about wanting to marry her, and they were very excited about that. And we looked at some heirloom jewelry, and her mom had a necklace from her great-grandmother that has a really pretty topaz on it. And so I talked with her mom and got that necklace sent down to Atlanta, and then took that to a jeweler and used that as the center stone in the engagement ring. And I found a ring that had some sapphires in it and some smaller diamonds on the sides and things. And so it's a nice engagement ring that has a family stone from at least 5 generations going back, maybe even more than that. And so I sat on that ring all last summer waiting for the opportune moment. And in August of last year, we were down at my grandparents' house near Pensacola, Florida, and my siblings were there with their spouses, and my mom and dad had driven down to bring some furniture to my grandmother, and so we're having great family time there. And my parents were getting ready to leave, and I asked them before they left if my mom would take some pictures of Emily and I.
Like casual boyfriend-girlfriend.
Yeah, down on the dock.
Oh, okay.
And so we're standing there on the pier, and we're next to each other, and my mom is taking pictures, and my littlest sister Gloria is up in the little beach house just freaking out saying, oh my goodness, he's about to propose, he's about to propose, he's about to propose. And my other sister Vivian is like, no, he's not. And next thing you know, I get down on one knee and pull out a ring, and my mom just thinks I'm playing around and being silly, and she keeps taking pictures And then she actually sees the ring when I like open the box, and then she starts crying.
What's in the box? What's in the box?
And so she's taking pictures and crying, and then Emily gets down on on her knees too. That way we're both down on our knees, just
Gender equality.
Gender equality there. And I told her I've loved these past, couple months of dating, and I said I love you, and there's a storm coming, and there will be many more to come, and we will weather them together. Because there was an actual storm coming. It was dark clouds.
Were you worried about the White Walkers as well?
Yes, and she said yes, and so we were engaged on that day.
Nice.
And that was when we called a bunch of people after that and said, "Hey, we talked to Emily's parents, and they have given their blessing, and we're going to get married. So, and now we're engaged. So that catches you up to August of 2015.
Yeah, and you didn't stay much longer in Georgia at that point.
No, we were there for another semester. So we did 3 semesters at Candler School of Theology at Emory University. And probably about end of October to beginning of November, we just recognized that the schedule we had was just exhausting and not sustainable. Both of us were working. We were both working jobs outside of school. Then we were both sort of like a seminarian, which is like an intern at a church, at a parish. And then we were both in school full time. And if you haven't driven through the city of Atlanta,
Beast of a mixing bowl.
it is awful. The traffic in Atlanta is on par with like Houston and DC. It's a nightmare. And so we were losing, 2 or 3 hours a day just in commute time because of how it would take an hour to go 7 miles. Kind of thing.
No, it's like LA traffic.
Yeah. There were not enough hours in a day, and we had taken out loans to be there, and we both recognized like this is just not working for us. It was honestly it was like really unhealthy for me. I had a lot of anxiety, and
you probably still had the PTSD.
Like borderline depression.
PTSD from Detroit still.
Honestly, I really did. I mean, I was borderline depression when I was in Detroit, and
dude, you and I talked about that. Like that was a real thing. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I mean,
we ran into some technical difficulties here, and had to splice some clips together. Last thing I was saying was, dude, like when you were in Detroit, I remember you called me or I called you or something, and we both talked about how like rough teaching is.
It was a nightmare. I had all of my classes had over 30 students. I had one class with 43 students on the roster.
Oh my gosh.
And and my classroom was so small, and didn't have enough chairs on some days, when students came. But most of the time that wasn't an issue because I would have at least 10 students who were absent every day. So, my class size was, around the, mid-20s or so.
Yeah. A 43 to 1 ratio is really ideal.
Yeah. We're going to, we're going to have another podcast another time where we just talk about teaching and just like the nightmare that the education system is, because that's a whole nother.
Yeah, we should not go down that rabbit hole. We need to focus more on you too.
So what I'll say is that I had a lot of anxiety during that time, and then calling off that time, the first semester for me at Candler at Emory was great. It was like a honeymoon. I'm like, I'm not teaching.
Yeah.
But then every semester the workload picked up, and then I started working more, and then we had more hours hours required of us serving in a church, and so it just built up too much to where we realized in November that we needed to press pause on our seminary degrees and take some time to slow things down, take some things off the plate, maybe just have one job and not multiple jobs kind of thing. And so originally we were thinking that we were going to move up here to Pennsylvania, but that would have been moving to Philadelphia in January. And
what's wrong with the winter?
Well,
Sunshine can promote happiness.
yeah, the other option, the alternative, was to move down to Tampa St. Pete, where Emily would be able to nanny my sister Vivian, who has 3 kids, a 5, a 3, and a 2-year-old. And then the company that I was working for in Atlanta has an office in Tampa. So we moved down in January, and that was another big adjustment. Took a little bit of time to get used to the housing scenario that we were in. For a time, Emily slept in a bunk bed with my nephew Walker, so Emily was on the bottom bunk while she was a live-in nanny, and I was at a guest house a couple blocks away, and Emily could come over and visit, but the people who had the guest room didn't want Emily staying over, and so it was hang out, set an alarm for 11 p.m. to where Emily knew she had to go back home kind of thing.
Oh no.
Yeah, so it was it was like high school dating again.
Yeah.
And then we finally got to rent our own place, our own condo together. And we did that for 3 months, March, April, May, while we finished up our time in Florida. And then we moved up here in June.
Yeah. And now you're leaving off at a part of the story where I don't even know what's been going on, other than I knew you were going to a wedding in Maine.
Yeah, so to fill in, we had some great time in Florida. Got to spend a good bit of time with this delightful host, Tall Tyler and Kel Babe, and we're there for a couple times when Trev and Nat and Baby Cal made it down too, and so now we're up here in the Huntington Valley area, just outside of Philadelphia, and we've been here since the beginning of June. And during that time, we went to the June Fete, which is a local, what is it, a local fair?
Yeah,
or carnival thing? Like small town USA carnival?
Yeah, I'll step in here a little bit. So, Justin and I, June 3rd was our last day in Florida, and we had a wonderful trip coming up. First, we drove to Atlanta. It was sad to say goodbye, especially to Vivian and her children. It was sad to say goodbye to them because we had seen them every day for 5 months. So it was pretty attached.
You were a nanny, so they were
Yeah.
And their family.
Yeah.
Said goodbye for now, and then we drove to Atlanta, stayed over for a night, and then spent that Sunday back in Atlanta, and we went to, this is funny, we went to Holy Trinity where Justin served, and I got a couple folks saying, "Are you the woman who took Justin away?" Said hello to them, and we saw some friends, spent time with Justin's cousin Tori. And then where did we stop next? We drove to Durham.
And then we went to Durham and saw the Fishers.
Oh, you saw Heather and Fish?
Heather and Fish and Baloo, and they made us a nice dinner, and then had some breakfast with them the next morning, and picked a bunch of kale in their garden. They had a row of kale up against the outer fence that was just
Was it thick?
It was really thick. It was probably like you could go out there and you could pick kale, and fill up a couple like garbage bags full, and it would have looked like you didn't even pick any. It was that thick. Just so much kale,
And they have a really nice garden, right? It's
they
like,
have an excellent garden. Everyone should go by, visit, and see that garden.
sounds like everyone needs to go by and pick some kale.
That too, yeah.
And we drove to DC.
Yeah, we left
we
Durham
met Baby Coop.
went to DC and saw one of my buddies. So my brother Cliff went to West Point, and one of his buddies lives in DC with his wife, and they just had a baby, and their baby Cooper is 2 months old, and so we got to visit them, and then visited one of Emily's classmates from William and Mary, where she went for undergrad, and then left from there and drove on the rest of the way up here to the Philadelphia area. So it was a tour de France on our way from Tampa to Philadelphia.
That
It's
sounds,
just nice.
yeah, that sounds like a fun road trip.
It was fun, and we got to our house. So our house, we have about 4 acres, and a bunch of it is woods. And I've lived here since 2nd grade, so I really grew up in this house. And my parents are here, and our dog Zoe. And there's a back building which we call the studio, and half of it is a game room, like ping pong, pool, foosball, posters, Pilates equipment. There's a bathroom, shower in the middle, and then on the other side is a bedroom, living area. So many people in our family and friend circle have lived in this studio. They've taken their turn during life transitions. So it's our turn, and we have the studio. We're in my room right now. My room, aka Registry Central. We have our future kitchen is here.
It's on a table to our left.
Plates and
We've got
serving things.
We've got cutting boards. We've got one cutting board the shape of Alabama, one cutting board the shape of Pennsylvania, a bunch of orange Fiesta-ware plates,
a mandolin,
serving utensils,
not the instrument,
the
nice
slicer.
knife.
Yeah, be careful with that mandolin.
We've got probably 2 or 3 immersion blenders. We've got some ramekins. We've got a bunch of other great stuff.
Ribbons and cards.
Ribbons and cards.
So yeah, we're still Florida is still unpacking. Our life is sort of sprawled through the house. But the first weekend we were here, I gave Justin a really good taste of Huntington Valley. We went to the Penn Charter graduation on Saturday morning, which is I went to the Quaker school, and so did my brothers.
The William Penn Charter
School.
Isn't
Founded
that,
in 1689
isn't
one
that,
of the oldest schools in the country.
by William Penn.
is that
And,
where Brandon went?
No, he went to LaSalle, which is a men's Catholic school.
yeah,
But
yeah.
Brandon and I have mutual friends. Shout out.
Yeah. Shout out to Brandon, because he'll maybe listen to this. I'm not really sure.
Shout out to Brandon. Go Bears. Justin's first experience of wood and ice.
Ooh.
Wood and no ice.
Yeah. Did you go get Rita's, or what did
So
you get?
They got me
It was
Rita's
kind
one
of a
day.
fail.
They got me Rita's one day, but I think I'd probably just been working out or something like that.
He was
So-
lifting too many weights.
So I didn't want the Rita's then, and we put it in the freezer because we had to go somewhere.
Oh, gee, that's a mistake.
And then a week later, I just had it today, so I took it out of the freezer and it was just a block.
Yeah.
And I set it on the counter and let it thaw for about an hour and a half. So it was part lemonade or limoncello drink, and then part lemonade limoncello slushy. So
Okay.
it was like ice and water,
The consistency was way
but
off.
it's supposed to be water ice.
It's supposed to be water ice, dude.
Yeah.
You can't freeze that thing. So you either eat it now or you just throw it away.
Get you these hoagies.
Yeah, and we get Lee's hoagies up here. We haven't made it down to Pat's Pat's and Gino's yet.
Yes, in South Philly, we'll get there.
Oh yeah, you got to get there. And remember, Jules and Holly are there.
Dundee.
Yeah, they're right. They're kind of like North Philly. I mean, not very far north, but northern a little bit.
Oh, northern Philly.
Yeah. But I mean, they live in the city.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're at least a half hour north of the city, I think.
Yeah, we could make a pilgrimage into the city.
Yes.
Yeah.
We will
You got to get some cheesesteaks.
venture into the city.
Cheesesteaks. So yeah, we did Philly for a little bit, started unpacking our lives, and then went to Maine for over a week. And we're just getting back from Maine.
Yeah.
So
That trip started. We drove up to Portland, Maine.
Portland.
Emily's older brother Henry was getting married, and Emily was the officiant,
yes.
Nice.
and it was great. Yeah, she there was a beautiful ceremony. It was on an island. It was on Peaks Island, which is a gorgeous place. In the Portland Harbor area.
How did you guys get out there? Like a ferry?
Yeah, they had a ferry that runs every half hour or something like that, and so we had.
She had beautiful wings.
We had
like
the
glitter
wedding
wings.
group, beautiful ferry.
So-
like Tinkerbell.
Were you kind of nervous? Like what I've never met someone that was the officiant at someone's wedding other than like an officiant, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, how did you do?
I was honored. Henry and Morgan asked me last summer, and I was really honored to do it. And the process of working with Henry and Morgan was a really good way to get to know them better as a couple.
Yeah.
So it was interesting to go through that process with them this spring, overlapping with us talking with Mona, our officiant. So it was an interesting time to consider role, because Morgan wrote a lot and compiled a lot of the ceremony, the language, and then I could step in and kind of rearrange or, change the tone or add pieces. Actually standing there on the day, like you can tell yourself, at least for me, if I'm reading a sermon or public speaking, like I can say, oh, I'm not nervous. But I know that one of my body parts is going to start shaking uncontrollably.
Yeah.
And you don't know which one it is before you start. So some sermons I'm holding the paper and it's my hands, so the paper is jiggling. But this time it was my right calf. And I was wearing black velvet high heels in grass, which was just, I really need some wedge boots is what I really need.
Yeah. Tell it, girl.
I wanted to wear cowgirl boots, but that was nixed. So I was wearing these black velvet heels, and I had to kind of straddle my legs so I wouldn't tip forward, because I didn't want to move my feet. I needed a strong foundation, so I had a wide stance.
Power stance.
I had a power stance in my black. Oh, and then Larry Williams of the Larry Williams Band put on my microphone to my V-neck dress while Justin was supervising.
Yeah.
So I had the microphone on, had the velvet heel stance, and my right calf just starts shaking uncontrollably. So I'm okay with my hands and my stance, but I knew that was going to happen. One of the bridesmaids, Claire, asked me right before I went, are you nervous? And I said, I'm usually not nervous, except for the first couple minutes when I start shaking, and then it all works out okay.
Yeah. You get kind of acclimated to it.
You get acclimated, and it's weird to hear your own voice, especially on a microphone, and it's you have to own it. You have to be I am speaking, and these people are listening. And it's you can't get in the mindset oh, they're judging me, I sound weird. It's no, you need to once you press play, you just go. Just like this podcast, you just go.
You gotta fake it till you make it.
And then the microphone, it was windy as we were outside in Maine on the water, and Morgan's veil was blowing around, and you just juggernaut. You just keep going. But I will say, it was really great to have my brother Henry there, because I couldn't really take it seriously. I would see him, and I just imagine him when we listen to Justin Bieber together, and we eat ice cream on the couch for years on end. So it was it was comic relief to have my one brother was right there, like 5 inches away, and then my other brother was like 7 inches away. And then I could look out. A couple times I looked at Justin. You know, you get that reassurance. So it was an honor, and you know, it's what I want to do. That's a role that I hope to be in often. So it was cool.
Yeah, that is cool. And you should definitely feel like that's an honor, because, man, for someone to entrust you to talk at their wedding, not just talk, but officiate the whole wedding.
And I'm a woman.
Well, I mean, that's not a big deal to me, but I know it is to some people.
She is a woman.
She is. I don't know if you remember, Bama, but our officiant was a woman, Kelly and I.
Now that you mention it, I don't remember.
I love the pause. I was like, wait, did I lose him?
Now that you mention it, I don't remember. Unexpected turn of phrase.
Yeah, I just remember the strings playing Eddie Vedder.
Oh yeah, so good. I'll end our podcast with that song.
Oh, that'd be great.
Yeah.
So other fun stuff while we were up in Maine. We had dinner with Jess Tatchik.
Whoa.
Shout out to Jess.
Yeah.
Really?
David.
Yeah.
Does she live up in Portland? Or?
Yeah. Well, she's originally from Saco, which is just a little bit south of Portland, and so we got to meet up with her and her husband and her boyfriend David a couple times for a dinner. One time at like this pizza place, flatbread pizza, and then another time at this fun seafood restaurant called Eventide that has really good oysters.
Eventide.
That's the one.
Yeah, I know it.
Really?
No, I don't know it.
We ate fiddleheads.
Yeah, we had salad with fiddleheads.
Oh, Fiddlehead Ferns?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. And then we went to the Portland Headlight, and there was a food truck there that Jess told us we had to eat at called Bite into Maine.
Ooh.
And they had a really good lobster roll.
Oh, lobster.
Lobster roll with a little bit of mayo and some coleslaw on top.
That sounds really good.
Yeah, and then we left from there, and we went up into the heart of Maine, like up a place called Caratunk, which is up near Skowhegan, and it's on the Kennebec River.
It's by the end of the Appalachian Trail
Yeah, not far from Katahdin.
We did a little hiking on the Appalachian.
Yeah, so Emily's friend, Katrina, from her College of William and Mary, her family has a little fish camp there it's 200 yards from where the Appalachian Trail passes. So if Liebermeyer listens to this podcast, he'll probably know where we're talking about.
Bill Bryson,
You have to cross the Kennebec River. There's no bridge, and you have to wait for the ferry. And so from 9 to 11 a.m. During season, they've got a guy who his only job for the National Park Service is just like hang out there from 9 to 11 and just canoe people across the river, the hikers who are doing the AT. So
what happens if I was a hiker and I showed up at like 11:15?
Yeah, you just have to wait till the next day, or you could call and you could pay, $50 to be out of time, or you could try to flag down somebody like our group when we were fishing and just ask us to give you a hitch just across the river. But you cannot ford the river. They have signs everywhere saying, don't ford the river, don't try to ford the river, because upriver they release the dam, and so the river will go from being 4 feet deep to 8 feet deep in less than a minute.
Whoa.
At the different intervals when they release the dam. And what's interesting too is they only release the dam now if there's too much rain, or they'll do it at daily times for the rafting companies, because it's a big
like whitewater rafting and stuff?
Yeah, it's a big industry for that town. There are probably 5 or 6 different whitewater rafting companies.
Hey, Bama, when the water is stuck behind the dam, does it say, "Release me"? What would you like us to do?
Yeah.
Die. We will not go quietly into the night.
We will not vanish without a fight. We're going to live on. We're going to survive. 'Cause today we celebrate our Independence Day. No, this is Independence Day, the one from the 90s.
Never
which,
seen it.
well,
Are there aliens?
now you have a chance to see Independence Day Insurrection or whatever the sequel coming out is soon.
Yeah, but sadly no Will Smith in that one.
Yeah, I don't know how they couldn't get him to be in a sequel to Independence Day.
Yeah, Jeff Goldblum dropped all the things that he was busy with and just was like, yeah, I'll do it. So how wide is this river?
So where the crossing is for the Appalachian Trail is one of the narrowest parts of the river, and it was probably about 100 yards wide.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So not one that you want to just try to walk across or swim across. And the current's pretty strong too. So if somebody was trying to swim across that, they're going to end up a whole lot farther down than where they started. And
Yeah.
I would not recommend doing that with a 40-pound pack or whatever, 60-pound or whatever it is that people hike the AT with.
Yeah, that's not safe.
No. But we did do some rafting while we were up there too, because Emily's friend Katrina was a rafting guide in years past and some summers when she lived up there. So we did some whitewater rafting and hit a couple class 4s.
Whoa.
And some good rapids here and there.
Justin went swimming.
Yeah, they had one area called Swimmers Rapids where it's pretty deep, and it was little class 2s and 3s, and they actually let the people jump out of the raft and just sort of swim down those rapids. It was pretty fun.
That's
I
cool.
couldn't believe it. Our guide Mike was like, "Okay, who wants to go swimming?" And he was kind of teasing me the whole time because I was afraid. And so he put Justin and I in the front of the boat, and you're not sitting in the boat; you're sitting on the side. Your loins are on the perimeter of the boat. You have to gird them. You have to quench for 2 hours, or what's that word?
Clench.
Wait. You have to quench your thirst with your thighs?
Quench your buttocks for 2 hours.
To grip the raft.
And then you stuff your ankles into the raft so you don't fall over. So it's like you're going to break your ankle, fall out of the boat, hit your head on a rock. But like, oh, this is fun.
Well,
Let's pay money to do this.
Did you think it was fun, though?
The guide takes us into the rapids. So
so that was a
What?
fun revelation. The guide is not supposed to get us down by avoiding the danger.
he takes you to the danger.
He takes you to the rapids.
Of
and tells
course.
you paddle faster. That way you hit them and sort of ramp out of them instead of hitting them and bouncing off of them.
So, girding loins, wearing wool to wick away the
You
waves.
gotta wear some fleece.
We
You
had
can't wear cotton.
waves. We were soaked, like our bodies were covered in water.
What was the
Yeah.
temp of the water?
The water temperature was probably in the 60s.
It was not Titanic, but it was not warm.
No, it was not the Gulf
Okay.
at this time of year by any means. But
So-
I was in a wetsuit, and then we
He looked like Scuba Cat.
What about
He has
Scuba
long
Steve?
zipper and everything down the back. So Mike, our fearless guide, was like, "Who wants to go swimming?" I was like, "That must be a joke." And then he was like, "Seriously." So Stephanie, Katrina's mom, Katrina and Justin are swimming their nose and toes. You float on your back and put your nose and toes out of the water. They float down, pull them back in the boat, and then somehow Mike talks me into being like the mermaid on the front of the ship. And I was sitting on the front of the boat. Again, there was some clenching.
She had her feet over the front of the boat, and she was holding a rope that comes up from below
Between
the
my
front.
legs, I'm holding this rope for dear life, leaning back, and the waves are coming in our face. And it's like, I think we're at the point where we're just beyond, and we're like, this is crazy, and nature is so big.
Yeah. I've done something similar where they release the dams and you can get some pretty good rapids, but it wasn't anything like class 4. Mine was like maximum class 3, but mainly class 2.
Yeah. Ours was, I think they said it was probably about 4,800 CFS cubic feet per second.
Wow.
Was the current and the volume of the water flowing. So it was good stuff.
The boat behind us, 5 times people fell in the water.
Yeah, they had 5 different people fall out. Apparently, they kept, every time they were going into the rapids, they have a videographer who was like over on the bank, and they kept trying to wave at the videographer instead of paddling, and so they hit it, and the raft just like buckles and bounces, and it launched the people out
Oh, man.
of the raft. And so what was fun rafting for us turns into a rescue mission where we're trying to paddle over to them and pull them into our raft. That way, you know, we can put them back in theirs. And the first pass, the guy, you know, reaches, but he's been floating down the rapids for a minute, and it's cold water. He is like a dead fish out there and doesn't have any energy. And the second time, the other raft that he was on, their guide throws the rope bag out, which is like a duffel bag with 100 feet of rope in it.
Yeah.
He throws it past the guy, and the guy grabs the rope, and then his guide starts pulling him in. And this guy's so exhausted. I mean, he's not doing anything right so far as all the instructions they tell you for trying to stay safe. And so he doesn't roll over onto his back, and the guide is pulling him, and he's just getting a face full of water. and he pulls him, and he comes by our raft, and I grab him, and I try to lift him up into our raft.
Yeah.
And he's just like waterlogged.
Oh.
It feels like he weighs like 200 pounds. I'm trying to pick him up and pull him into our raft. And I get him like halfway up and then grab his belt on his shorts and sling him in the rest of the way.
Yeah.
And he doesn't move. He's just like, and he doesn't even move for about 3 minutes. Then finally they get him back into the other raft. But it was wild.
Dude, that's terrifying. It's like, those guides have to deal with the most out-of-shape people that think they can do it.
Oh, yeah.
Like, that puts everyone's life at risk.
Yeah. Our friend Katrina was telling us what she hated the most is, like, there would be Boy Scout groups of kids who are so small that their paddles can't even touch the water.
Oh,
and
boy.
She's getting frustrated, just like, are you kidding me? Like, you can't put these kids in a raft.
And the waves were too big, but her boss kind of made them go anyway.
Yeah.
Like, it was illegally treacherous.
Oh,
they still
no.
went.
That's not good.
No.
Shout out to Katrina.
Ungood.
What's up, girl?
Katrina Lubitsa.
Man, it's kind of crazy how powerful water can be. And when we were doing our rafting, we kind of got grounded onto this rock, and we're just stuck there, and we're trying to like kind of push our way out, and a raft that was coming behind us ran into us. We flipped. Everyone fell out.
Oh, no.
And everyone was just floating down the river, and my mom like really messed up her ankle. It's kind of terrifying. And
where was this?
In Pennsylvania somewhere. Yeah, or maybe it was Jersey. I don't know. I could talk to my friend Sam. He found the place and we went up there. But yeah, I mean, like you're saying, you have to do nose and toes up. If your foot gets lodged into a rock just by total sheer coincidence, you're screwed.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We also hand-fed bald eagles.
We did not hand-feed bald eagles. Don't
Fed
tell
them
people.
from our hands.
We didn't feed bald eagles.
You know what else we did? We scalped bald eagles.
We did no such thing.
We rode on the wings of bald
We
eagles.
did not illegally touch, pet,
Justin collected a couple feathers.
I did not illegally
It was
collect any eagle
It was like
feathers that are
rescued down
illegal to
under
own.
and the golden eagle.
Yeah, I found the Barahute feathers.
Nice. That's
no,
awesome.
So we would go fishing with Katrina and her parents, and catch some white perch and some yellow perch and some white bass. And then, not everybody knows this, but bald eagles are sort of like scavengers. Like they eat carrion, like dead animals, and
Can you
and
keep
they'll even.
Can you keep telling me about eagles, but in the Christopher Walken voice?
You want to hear about the Eagles? Does it sound like I'm doing Christopher Walken? Because I don't mean to. Wow! Wowie! Wow! Wow! Eagles flying out of the sky. They grasp the fish with the talons. Be damned if some gook was going to get his hands on it.
Oh man, no, but you're right. Eagles, like because we're Americans, we're like, oh yeah, that represents the nation. They're such badass birds, but yeah, they eat. They're just scavengers, really.
Yeah, and so with ospreys cannot fly as high as eagles can, and so an eagle will chase an osprey and try to like bully it, flying higher and higher until it tires the osprey out, and the osprey will drop the fish, and the eagle will catch it and then go eat it. So they're
yeah.
Just like America.
Yeah, so it's sort of pretty applicable now, but it wasn't at the time.
Yeah. Now, don't get me wrong. I have seen eagles actually hunt, like on video, so they can. But
yeah, I mean, they'll catch a cat and take it up to its nest.
yeah. But they're definitely opportunity hunters.
Nuggie!
Yeah.
Nuggie is nowhere.
Keep Nuggie inside.
She's not in this room with me, but her poop is.
Yeah. So we weren't feeding the eagles. We
Good.
would go downriver to where you could see an eagle nest and two mature parent eagles, and then you could see two fledglings in the nest. And then
What kind of
we just
rifle did you
happened-
use to kill it?
we just happened to hit the fish with a wrench, and then the fish fell overboard after we hit them with a wrench.
From someone's baseball throwing hand.
Yeah, the floater pitch from Rookie of the Year, so like tossing it up into the air kind of thing, and then we drifted away a little bit, and as we're drifting out, then you would see the eagle take off from. They did it silently. They would take off from the nest, and you'd see them, and they would circle around, and they would look at the fish, and then they would swoop down and grasp it with their talons, and then take it back up to the nest.
That's pretty badass.
It was. I mean, I had a couple tears for America, watching those eagles fly.
Good.
I
Fly.
had a couple tears when I ripped a lobster's face off.
Yeah.
What?
I had a really,
So we had a lobster
Dramatic.
dinner one night,
really dramatic dinner.
and Emily, thought maybe the lobster meat would just be served to you on the plate.
Like I knew what was going to happen. I think it's going to be like childbirth. Like you know what's going to happen, but then when it's happening, you're like, oh my god.
That's funny.
Yeah,
I mean, it's pretty violent the way you have to crack
Rip
the
the-
lobster
and it had a
claws and
face,
rip
and
the
it had
legs
little
off
hands,
and break the tail.
yeah, little antennas.
Wait,
Yeah.
Em, haven't you? I mean, it's similar to eating like blue crabs. Haven't you done that?
I have not eaten an animal in that way to my memory before.
Really?
You got to remember, when Emily and I started dating too, she had been a vegetarian for about 10 years.
Oh,
And
okay.
sober, and then that's what
Yeah. So you just had to massacre the already dead lobster, right?
Yeah, so
It was not going to crawl off the plate if we didn't, hammer it and claw and
Yeah.
crush it.
Yeah. But did you like it?
I need to pee. Here.
okay, Justin has to excuse himself to the men's room.
See ya.
Let's see. Let's just say I don't want to do it ever again.
So did you actually cry?
I didn't cry, but I was in a funk for a couple hours. I had some sadness time.
Yeah, I've been there before. If it makes you feel any better, they're related to insects. And have you ever crushed an insect?
Yes.
It's kind of like that, but 1,000 times bigger.
Yes, like stepping on a spider.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird because I grew up doing like blue crab dinners, like with the family. You line the table with newspaper, and you just have tons of these blue crabs that have been boiled, and they have like Old Bay seasoning on them. And you just throw them onto the table. You just pretty much massacre them with your hands, and I love it. It's so yummy, and I don't think I've ever done what you did to a lobster. Like, I've never had a lobster. Whoa. Whoa.
I'm sorry.
What was that?
The room was dark, and we have like 50 wine bottles on the ground that someone nailed to us to use as wedding decorations, and it sounded like Justin broke something, and I startle easily.
Yeah.
Everything's okay, and the light's on again.
Nothing broke, right?
Nothing broke. Nothing broke.
That's good. But I was just finishing up a lobster, like a whole lobster. I've actually never had that before.
Yeah, like an entire, I mean, it made me feel it was like a sacrifice, and it was like how you care, like anointing the dead and approaching the sacredness of a living being. That is how I felt.
Well, I think that's a respectable way to feel, because if you don't feel any emotion, then, like, what are you? Like, I don't get it. That's the thing that I feel about
Vulcan.
all meat. Like, the only way I could hunt is if I killed it, I walked up to it, and, like, just thanked it, you know?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that would still kill me.
Process it for eating.
Water for eating?
Then you process it for eating, like, so far as
Yeah,
gutting it,
exactly.
the entrails, and then, carving it up, that way you could eat it.
And then
Exactly.
you use the fur so you can have moose lingerie.
Oh, moose lingerie.
Yeah, somebody told us that we would have to get some moose lingerie in Freeport. We did not find it at the LL Bean outlet, though.
That's why Justin's taking me to Maine for the honeymoon.
Oh,
Gotta
man.
go find that moose knuckle underwear.
I don't know if you actually need a moose for that.
Yeah, I feel like I might have seen a moose knuckle down in Florida a time or two.
Well, that's awesome. Well, I'm glad you guys were able to get on this podcast.
Yeah, thank you, man.
Yeah, I mean, we got 40 seconds until it's an hour, and that's about the time that we normally do.
Well, before we end, we would like to sing.
Okay.
We're gonna sing.
But we don't know what song, so would you please tell us? We'll play karaoke roulette, where you name a song, and then we have to sing it, duet.
Okay. Bicycle Race by Queen.
Do you know that
Is it like, I'm a shooting star?
one? No, that's
No, but you can sing that too.
Bicycle.
I want to ride my bicycle. I want to ride my life.
Do 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 do.
To ride my bicycle. I want to ride my life.
You say yes, I say no. You say right, I say right. I never liked Star Wars. Don't believe it's Superman. Aquanauts and Peter Pan. All I wanna do is
Bicycle, bicycle.
bicycle, 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 bicycle race.
Gling gling,
Ding, ding.
gling gling ding, gling gling. That was beautiful.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Don't even get me started. You guys better be playing that at the wedding.
Yeah, first dance.
First dance song, Cisco thong song.
First, we'd like to bring out the newlyweds to Cisco Thong Song.
Special request. We want to dedicate this one to Tyler and Kelbabe, who requested thong song in our wedding.
And
So
they will now dance it in front of everyone.
Okay, real quick. When I was in 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, so middle school, we used to have dances like every month. There was a dance, and all they would play was like gangster rap, like Juvenile, Cisco,
DMX, Party Up.
DMX, of course. And back then, I was obsessed with it all. I would walk down the hallways at school, my pants sagging below my ass, I had a silver chain with a Cash Money Records charm on it, and I would rap through the hallways. That's the end of the story.
So my question is, what do you still remember? What could you do a cappella? If any of it? Some Eminem and Dr. Dre.
Nowadays, everybody want to talk to. They got something to say, but nothing comes out with them move the lips. Just a bunch of gibberish. Motherfuckers act like you forgot about Dre. Niggas come up to me, with your hands out, coming up to me, and that's all I know.
If you want something free, if it was up to me, my last CD, you wouldn't talk to me. But now that I got Snoop Company, everybody want to come to me like it was some disease, but you won't get a crumb from me because I'm from the streets of Compton. Soda Mall. Some gangsters who you think sold them all. Now you want to run around and talk about guns
like I ain't got none. What you think I sold them all because I stay well off?
Now all I get hit is hate mail all day saying Dre fell off. Why? Because I've been in the lab with a pen and a pad trying to get a damn label off. I ain't having that. This is the millennium of aftermath. There ain't going to be nothing after that. So give me one more platinum plaque. You can have it back. So where's all the mad rappers at? It's like a jungle in this habitat, and all this, and all you savage guys knew that I was trapping.
Oh no! What? I'm on hold. We lost you. What happened?
Hey,
Bam?
did you get that? We had somebody trying to call us.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Yeah, well, dude, I think it's time. That was awesome, though.
Oh man, great.
Hi, Calvin.
Hello, everyone out in Radio Land, everyone who's going to be listening to the podcast. We love you. We can't wait to share the rest of our lives with you. We're so excited for everything that you have meant to Emily and I and helped us become who the people we are today because we have fallen in love with each other and we're going to spend the rest of our lives together.
Yay!
Yay, marriage. Yay,
Well,
love.
guys, I'm excited to see you.
It's going to be great. Yeah, everybody let us know whenever you're going to be around the Philadelphia area. And then we'll keep everybody posted with our post-wedding plans for what we're going to be doing in the next year and a half and stuff like that.
Love it, man. And at some point, you and I will have a podcast about teaching and, you know, what we've kind of deduced from being part of it.
Yeah, sounds great.
All right, guys. Well,
Thanks, Todd.
yeah, of course. You guys have a good night.
Sick Bush. Good night, buddy.
All right, love you guys.
See ya. Love you too, man.
See ya.